Hi, I'm Hanbit, and I'm a pastry chef from Korea. Hi everybody, it's Hanbit here. 안녕하세요, 조한빛입니다. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to make classic scones. And it's my version of classic scones, so to be honest, they're not classic anymore because they're upgraded. So I should probably call it an upgraded version of the classic scone. Well, thinking about scones, who doesn't like scones? I haven't seen anyone who doesn't. Let's say it's sometime in the afternoon. Scones with strawberry jam and clotted cream with a cup of tea. It can't get better than that. So next time you make scones, try my version of scones. I'm sure you'll love it. Well then, how is it different? A, I'm going to make my scones in the shape of a triangle rather than the regular circle. It makes it look so much more interesting. And B, I'm going to make what I call a layered scone. A layered scone is where you split the dough and pile it up on top of each other so that you get layers when you bake it. Again, this makes a classic scone much more interesting. The actual steps of making a scone is not difficult at all. And plus, in terms of the ingredients, you only use ingredients that you can find in a regular home kitchen, so it's great. So why don't we start right away? I'll go through the ingredients, and the ingredients are actually quite simple. Here I've got butter, and I've cut the butter into 2 centimeter cubes. I'm actually going to use a food processor to make my scones today, and using a food processor makes your overall process so much more efficient. But if you're doing it by hand, that's perfectly fine, but I would cut the butter into 1 centimeter cubes instead. Food processors tend to be very powerful, and that's why I cut them into larger cubes when I'm using the machine. Here I've got 4 ingredients altogether: sugar, flour, a pinch of salt, and baking powder. Regarding the flour, you can use all-purpose flour or cake flour. I like my scones to be kind of light in texture, so I'm going to use cake flour today. Finally, I've got a mixture of whole eggs and heavy cream. I personally prefer using heavy cream rather than milk because I think it gives that extra depth of flavor to the scones. What you have to remember when making scones is that you want all your ingredients to be chilled. So I've actually kept all these ingredients in the fridge before going through them right now. If your ingredients are not cold enough, it's likely that the butter is going to melt while you work with it. And that's going to result in your scones flattening while it's baked in the oven. During the summer season, I even put my butter in the freezer rather than the fridge. So that buys me time when working in a relatively warm environment. First, add in the dry ingredients. And then the butter. The whole idea is that you're chopping up the butter into smaller pieces, but at the same time, coating the butter with the dry ingredients. Please remember that food processors are very powerful, and that's why I'm going to use the pulse function and pulse it and watch it. The key is not to overdo it. If you overblend it, the butter will become too soft, and it's likely that your scones will go flat in the oven. Great, I'm going to take a look. My aim was to blend it until the size of the butter turns into the size of a pea. Great, that's the sort of the size that I was looking for. Perfect, I'm going to stop there and add in the liquid. Again, don't overdo it. I'm going to stop right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this to the silicone mat right here and then bring everything together. Notice that I've stopped right here and I haven't blended it until it became a dough. By then, you would have overdone it. I'm going to use a couple of scrapers to bring everything together. I know it feels crumbly and it looks crumbly, but that's how it's meant to be. It's literally kind of sticking the dough to each other. Great, so I've brought everything together and I made a rectangular shape. And you're going to see in a minute why I've done that. You may be able to see small specks of butter, but that's fine. And that's how it's meant to be. You're doing it right. I'm now going to use dusting flour because it's going to stick. That's why I need dusting flour. Now, do you remember me talking about making layered scones at the very beginning of the lesson? I'm going to work on making and creating the layers now. Simply cut it in half and stack it. That's how you do it, and that's how you create layers. Now I'm going to press it down into a rectangle and then cut it in half again to create another layer. Cut it in half. Now there we go, another layer. Now, that's the last layer I'm going to create. Do work quickly when making scones. You don't want your butter to melt. Great, now I'm going to cut them into triangles, and I'm going to get 4 triangles out of this dough. Now that's how you get 4 triangles. Before I bake this in the oven, I'm going to apply egg wash on top. And this egg wash is 1 part heavy cream and 1 part whole eggs. The egg wash will give a nice brown color, which will make the scone look even more delicious. And make sure you just apply the egg wash to the top, because you apply it to the side as well, it might actually inhibit the scone from rising. Perfect. Now I'm going to bake it in the preheated oven. My scones have just come out of the oven, and look at the brown color on top. It's shiny and it looks delicious. To be honest, it smells delicious as well. I'm now going to put this on a cooling rack and let them cool down completely, and then try it. My scones have completely cooled down, so I'm going to try it. But before I try it, I'm going to decorate my scones because I'm a pastry chef and I like making things look nice. I'm going to drizzle it with strawberry jam because strawberry jam goes so well with scones. Now it's time to try it, but before I try it, I'm going to show you the inside of my layered scone and show what I mean by the layers. Now this is what I mean by layers. Ta-da! You can see that it's formed a layer so that when you open it, you can open it up in layers. What's great about this is that you can open it up like I've done, place the jam inside, and then cover it up, and then it becomes a scone sandwich. Right, I just couldn't wait to try my scone. Oh, it looks so good. Open it up like a layered scone and try it. I'm lost for words. It is so good. Hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on how to make my version of scones. They're quite easy to make and they're absolutely delicious, so you'll love it. There are countless variations of scones and there are many different ways to spice it up. I have very interesting and delicious scone recipes on my online course, so please check it out. I'll see you next time in another tutorial. Thank you very much. 감사합니다.
And I'm dying to tell you, you blow my mind. I don't know if you know yet.